All right, guys, so it finally happened. Russell Brand has both jumped the shark and shit the bed. And even though he's been flirting with this like right-wing transition for quite a while now, he's gone all in. He's gone all in right in front of our eyes. Russell Brand tells listeners to vote for Trump if you care about democracy. That is rich. That is rich. The guy who did their words, not mine, fake elector plot. That one time they described it as that. The other time internally with emails to each other, they described it as a fraudulent elector plot. The guy who did that to overturn the results of the last election had January 6th happen, right? All that. He's the one you got to vote for if you care about democracy. Okay, Russell. So you guys know for a while he's been doing this steady, slow but sure transition to, hey, I'm a left-winger. Hey, now I'm just vaguely anti-establishment, centristy anti-establishment. Then it was like I'm right-wing anti-establishment. And now it's just MAGA. Okay. All right. Well, let's hear him out. And then we'll break it down. So I guess this is on his own show.
In a straight choice between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, if you care about democracy, if you care about freedom, I don't know how you can do anything other than vote for Donald Trump for precisely the reasons that they claim that you can't vote for Donald Trump. They act as if a vote for Donald Trump is almost like you're directly voting for Armageddon. Like you see hysterical performances outside of courtrooms, endless MSNBC bombast. But I'm starting to think that, no, a greater threat to democracy is this kind of technological feudalism that tells you that it cares about you and it's protecting vulnerable people, all the while increasing censorship, increasing the funding of wars, increasing the division between ordinary Americans.
So there it is. There it is. He came out and said it. I'll try to be as diplomatic and calm as possible as I walk everybody through this. But the reasons to not support Trump are just purely policy-based. It's based on what happened when he was president, the policies he pursued, and the policies he is saying he's going to pursue if he gets in there again. That's the reason not to support Trump. Now, am I here making a defense of Joe Biden? No. I'm saying nothing on Joe Biden. In fact, the biggest thing that comes to mind when I mention Joe Biden is arming and funding Netanyahu as he does a genocide in Gaza. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I think about Joe Biden. But Trump has pivoted to Biden's right on that issue. Trump is saying, you're anti-Israel, Joe Biden. You're not giving them enough money. You're not giving them enough weapons. Actually, you're pro-terrorist and you're pro-Hamas, and I will be anti-Hamas. And now the reporting is Trump is looking to get millions of dollars from Miriam Adelson, and then he says, I'll let them annex the West Bank. I'll let Israel annex the West Bank if Miriam Adelson gives me millions and millions of dollars. So in other words, for all my criticisms of Biden, Trump has gone to his right on this issue, which is Biden's biggest weakness. And the other guy's like, I will be worse. I will be worse on that issue. So why else? Look, I don't know how many times I can go through this list for you guys, but it's got to land at some point, right? This has to get through to people's heads. If they care about facts, if they care about evidence, if they care about policy. So the reasons to not support, let's start with the basics. 91 felony charges for defrauding the United States with fake electors and trying to steal the election. How about when he came out and said, I want to terminate the Constitution to keep myself in power? I can't imagine the reaction. I got so many criticisms of the Democratic presidents. I couldn't imagine the public reaction if Obama said that or Biden said that or any Democrat said, we're going to suspend the Constitution, we're going to terminate it so I can stay in power. Could you imagine? These guys just overlook it when Trump says it. How about when he destroyed the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? Like the one agency in our government that's responsible for returning billions of dollars to defrauded Americans. What about that? Does that not count for anything? Or how about when he killed the regulations and the court cases into the predatory payday loan industry? Why? Because they gave him $1 million at his inauguration. Now, this is a guy who says he's anti-corruption and they're all controlled by the lobbyists and the donors and I'm self-funding. He didn't self-fund and he's not self-funding the second time around. And the corruption is right there in front of your face and this guy just overlooks it. Russell Brand would have 78 criticisms of Joe Biden for his various corruption, and I'm right there with him on those. But when it comes to Donald Trump, just overlooksville all day long. How about when he massively cut taxes for the rich and corporations and billionaires? How about that? That was something that we were all against when George W. Bush did it. But when Trump does it again, shh, mum's the word, something, he supports freedom. More on that in a minute, by the way. The guy, he brings up, the funding of the wars from the Democrats. What? The idea, Republicans aren't also funding wars, and in many cases funding them even more? Trump is saying I'm going to give Israel more money than Joe Biden is. Trump increased drone strikes by 432%. He kept us in Iraq and Afghanistan even though he said he was going to get us out of there. He tried to coup Venezuela. He ripped up the Iran agreement, which was one of the biggest mistakes of his presidency. It was actually fucking working. It was one of the few good things Obama did. Trump signed a pro-torture executive order. Again, I reiterate, this is something back during the George W. Bush years. When we talked about it in the context of Bush and Cheney, everybody, including Russell Brand, was harshly critical of torture. Now with Trump, we just pretend like he didn't sign a pro-torture executive order. We just act like that wasn't a thing. How about that bill where he destroyed internet privacy? He signed a bill that had a lower than a 10% approval rating, which said that any company that you do business with online, they now have the legal right to sell your data and your information to any third party that wants to buy it. You have no more internet privacy. You could thank you could thank Donald Trump for that. Nothing. I'm sure he doesn't even know that that's a thing because he's talking out of his ass. He doesn't know the specifics. He doesn't know the details. This is a guy who pretended to be an environmentalist and care about the climate. Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement, the most milquetoast bare minimum agreement of all time to stop us from going over the fucking cliff with climate change. He destroyed it, and here's Russell Brand now cheerleading him. Again, so much war funding from Democrats. Trump is campaigning on I want war with Mexico. He said it. Trump armed Saudi Arabia as they did a genocide in Yemen, and then when Mike Lee and Bernie Sanders passed a bill to stop us arming the genociders, Trump vetoed it and supported the genociders. What are we talking about here? Jesus Christ, man. Now look, unlike Russell Brand, I'm not a hack. So if Trump ever did any good things, sure, I'll bring it up. I liked the First Step Act. I thought that was great. It's a good first step for criminal justice reform. I liked it when he pardoned Alice Johnson because Kim Kardashian said, hey, this woman really shouldn't be in prison. She's a sweet old grandma. It's unfair what happened to her. Could you please pardon her? He pardoned her. Good on him. I liked it when he said, hey, I'm done with the TPP. No TPP. Now, to be fair, he did other trade deals like the new NAFTA, which had some of the provisions of the TPP in it. But broadly speaking, getting rid of the TPP, I support. I even supported it when everybody was making fun of him when he went to go talk to North Korea. Why did I support that? Because even though Kim Jong-un is a comic book villain and Trump is a goofball, I'd rather have us talking with them than being on the brink of bombing them, right? So I'm fair. I will give credit where it's due. But you're not getting this nuance. You're not getting this complexity. You're not getting the truth from what Russell Brand is saying and what he's doing. And I haven't even brought up Project 2025 yet. Again, so ironic. He talked about if you support freedom, you got to vote for Donald Trump. Really? Do you know what Project 2025 is? Let me just give you some of what's in Project 2025. It's a 920-page document from an amalgamation of all the right-wing think tanks, and it's their day one battle plan of what they're going to do if Trump gets elected. Thing number one is we're doing the unitary executive theory. You know what that means? It's effectively a fancy legal way of saying we don't want a president, we want a dictator. No more checks and balances. No more congressionally approved positions. He should have the say across the board. This was Dick Cheney's preferred ideology, unitary executive theory. Under Project 2025, they want to reclassify federal employees to what's called a Schedule F employee, which then allows them to fire workers with impunity. And they plan on firing tens of thousands of people. They want to totally dismantle the administrative state. So that means no more EPA, so no more environmental protection, no more Department of Justice, no more Department of Education, no more Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, no more Department of Health and Human Services, no more Department of Labor. They want to criminalize the selling of abortion pills by mail. This is all outlined in it right in front of your face. They say they want to outlaw porn. They want to outlaw porn. And Russell Brand is talking about for freedom, vote Donald Trump. Does that sound like freedom to you? Ban porn? Not only do they want to gut environmental law, they want to ban any individual states from making and enforcing their own environmental laws. We got a bunch of red states now that are bringing back child labor. We've discussed that in detail in the various states where they're rolling it out. They want to ban, again, not only are they not in favor of a minimum wage increase at a federal level, they want to ban individual states from doing their own minimum wage increases. We discussed it for Florida and Texas. They have the Death Star law, as they call it. They want to ban any cities and localities from having their own heat protection laws. So in Florida, there used to be laws of, hey, if you're outside in 90-degree weather for more than 2 hours or whatever it is, I'm making up the specifics here, but you need a 30-minute break where you can go in the AC because it's dangerous to be out there that long. They're signing bills that bans even Democratic cities in Republican states from having basic heat protections. What are we talking about here? Look, I think what you're going to find is the exact same thing that happened with Dave Rubin and the exact same thing that happened with Tulsi Gabbard. You're a curiosity to the right when you're like, hey man, I'm a liberal or I'm a lefty, but here's 42 talking points about how maybe the right's not so bad and the left is evil and terrible. That's a curiosity to people on the right, and they'll watch you, right? They'll watch you. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, look, they're telling me what I want to hear, even though they say they have a different political ideology. Interesting. Like. That's how that works. But after the jig is up, right? After you just come out of the closet, yeah, I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative, yeah, vote Trump, rah, rah, yay, Donald Trump. All of a sudden, snooze fest. Why would they go to you when they could just go to Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder, who are the card-carrying, I wear it on my sleeve conservative Republicans? There's no more need for you. When you're like, yeah, I'm the conservative, I'm just a conservative now, I'm just a MAGA person now. Why would they go to you when they can go to the original? And what happened with Tulsi and what happened with Dave Rubin? The numbers started going down, right? Nobody cares. What are you saying? Well, I do, to make fun of them, right? But now this is where Russell Brand is at. What is said? I feel so dumb forever coming out there. Remember when I think it was the Daily Beast, they wrote a piece on Russell, and it was like, hey, it's sort of getting sketchy. He's becoming a little conspiracy theorist and a right-wing guy now. And I remember doing a segment where I ripped him for that. I was like, that's not true. That's not true. Well, I was wrong. And they were right. That was true. They saw the seeds of it at the beginning and were able to correctly extrapolate on the trajectory. Like, this is where it's going. We know where it's going to end up. I was just wrong. And that's a fault of mine that I've acknowledged for a while now, that I take people at face value, right? To a detriment, to the point where I downplayed something like trajectory and where are they heading. I don't do that anymore. I've been burned one too many times. So, Russell, pathetic. And I think you know it is too. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.